jump into the main slate. Who do you like for stacks?
Well, it's tough right now because everyone's hurt, but I like two cheaper ones. I do like Mike White if he plays and Garrett Wilson against the Lions. Both are still way too cheap. They have a high ceiling, of course, against the Lions. It could, the total's pretty low for a Lions game, like you said, on the road. They're typically lower scoring. Their defense has been much better of late, but this is still a stack that interests me, and they're cheaper. Coming off a pretty disappointing game, but that was a tough matchup against the Bills, and Mike White took a big hit. So I like reinvesting in on them this week. Could be lower owned. And then I have to go Desmond Ridder, Drake London stack. I've just been waiting way too long for this. Ritter's making his first start this week. While he's probably far from perfect, he probably is an upgrade over Marcus Mariota, at least in terms of getting Drake London the ball. And Ridder has some sneaky rushing upside himself. I don't think he's going to run quite as much as Mariota, but he is kind of a dual threat quarterback. So I like him in DFS, and both these guys are just way too cheap. Even Zacchaeus is like near min price. So I am interested in kind of stacking this offense before people can see Ridder in action, but I think he'll have a pretty good debut. And they're facing the Saints, so they could throw a bit more here, and just a reason to invest in Drake London this week by stacking him with Desmond Ridder.
Yeah, I was looking at that too. I think that's a real interesting one because there's just a lot of uncertainty, and that's kind of what you
Yeah.
want in these stacks. But love the Mike White call as well. Also love Dak Prescott, CD Lamb this week. Dak is down to 6,200 on DraftKings, so he's only 200 more than Trevor Lawrence, and he's had some kind of shaky games these last few in terms of his fantasy production, around 15 to 18 points. But this Jaguar defense is 30th against the pass, 16th against the run. So I think, whereas last week it really set up for the running backs and they both, put up good games. I think this one sets up a little bit more for Dak to throw it around. So like Dak stacked with Lamb. And also I like Latavius Murray Broncos D stack here.
Nice.
This is actually a winnable game for them at home, facing a backup quarterback. We'll see what happens with the quarterback situation for them, but either way, I think they're going to be pretty run heavy, whether it is Rippon or Wilson coming back against this Cardinal D. So like Murray here, expecting to get 18 plus touches, and this Bronco defense isn't really that expensive, and it's still one of the better defenses in the league. I know they've got some guys banged up compared to earlier in the year, but they still should be able to get decent pressure. They still, they picked Mahomes 3 times last week. I got a couple of picks the week before as well. So like this Bronco D Murray, if the Broncos are going to finally get another win, this stack should pay off.
The Broncos D is only 2,700. Am I seeing that correctly?
Yep.
Okay, we'll have to use them for our DK lineup then.
Who do you like for dart throws?
So for dart throws at quarterback, I got to go with Mac Jones. He's been priced right at 5K against the Raiders. So we have no clue which running backs or wide receivers he'll have active this week, but it's still a good matchup against the Raiders. They rank dead last in DVOA against the pass. I think this will be sort of a pass heavy game script. And, we just saw the Raiders allow Baker Mayfield to beat them when he barely knew the playbook. He had less than 2 days to learn it. And he was still able to have a good game. So I think Mac Jones, despite being in price, I can't imagine his roster ship's going to be over, 3-5% here. So I like taking him in some spots. And then for running back, it's always tough to find dart throws, but got to go with Boston Scott here against the Bears. He's 4,100. And last week he operated as the clear number 2 running back. I'm not sure what happened with Kenneth Gainwell. This seems to happen with him from time to time, but he only saw 1 catch for 0 yards. Scott could see an uptick in volume and what should be another easy win against, really bad defense in the Bears. And you have to imagine, the Eagles might start limiting how many times Jalen Hurts or Miles Sanders run the ball. So we could see Scott, see an uptick in usage here. And he's always a threat for a vulture touchdown as well. So I like him in this spot at 4,100. And then 2 receivers I like. The first one's Denzel Mims against the Lions. He's 3K. And it looks like Corey Davis, he's in the concussion protocol. Probably going to miss this week. So Mims, he's his direct replacement. Should see 75% routes run rate. And I still think he's, extremely underrated. He hasn't really had a chance to shine in the NFL. Hasn't seen much playing time. So he could break out in a spot like this where I think he's going to be a full-time player. And it's a pretty good matchup this week against the Lions as well. And then Olamide Zaccheaus, he's 3,400 this week. He's a sneaky play with Desmond Ridder making his debut as well. He's the clear number 2 target behind Drake London, and he has the occasional game where he goes off. Like week 12, he had 5 catches for 91 yards. Sometimes he'll catch a long touchdown. So he's definitely worth a flyer at this price. You usually don't see top 2 targets in offense this cheap. So I like Zaccheaus as a dart throw as well.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, Ridder, I just think, there's so much uncertainty that it makes sense to just kind of, go off the board with him. You mentioned London, Zaccheaus.
Yeah, GPP only. No, don't invest in the Falcons passing offense in cash games ever. Let me be clear about that. This is GPP only.
Yeah, I would hope people understand that. All right, for me, I'm going for running back. The 2 Texans backs, Dare Ogunbowale is at 4,700 on DraftKings and Burkhead's at 46. I think you're going to probably see something of a 50-50 split, but, as long as you don't play them in the same lineup, you can kind of, there's a chance that one of them could operate as the lead back. My guess would be it would be Ogunbowale. He's kind of taken over that number 2 role as of late. I don't know if it's because Burkhead's been banged up, but they've been kind of phasing out Burkhead in terms of carries anyway. So we've seen Ogunbowale have a couple of games. I think he was on the Jags when he was a feature back, and he's pretty productive. Yeah. So Ogunbowale would be my first choice, but could be Burkhead as well. Remember, he had some games last year where, he stepped
this time last year too.
Yeah. So I think both of those guys are worth some dart throws. And then for wide receiver, kind of mirroring your Jets, except I'm going Elijah Moore. He's only 3,600, and he's their true number 2. He ran around 92% of the time last week. So that was, back up to his normal rate. And I think we talked about this, like, he might eventually start hitting his normal, early season rate again, now that he's kind of working his way back into the good graces of the coaching staff. And Zach Wilson isn't holding him back anymore. So really like Elijah Moore. I mean, if you told me Elijah Moore is going to be 3,600 in week 15, and he was drafted as a top 30 wide receiver.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think he's a must play. You got to get some exposure to him. And then Rashid Shaheed, 3,200. He's still, they're not realizing that this guy is starting for the Saints now. And he's been doing it for the last 3 games. He ran a route on 66% of the dropbacks 3 games ago. Then it went up to 69, and then 73% in the game before the bye. So he's been trending up, and he's been that other perimeter receiver along with Olave on the outside, and then Landry's been in the slot. I think that'll continue. And, he's a very explosive player, sees a pretty high ADOTs, and can get a rush attempt, returns kicks as well. So just a lot of ways for him to hit. And you could even stack him with the Falcons, with the Saints defense, because they are going against a rookie quarterback in Desmond Ridder. So a lot of ways to play Rashid Shaheed. Really like him. I just think he's a good player. He's way too cheap regardless of the circumstances. And then the 2 Bengals receivers, looks like Tyler Boyd's definitely going to be out with the finger. And from the looks of it, T. Higgins may not go either. So I think Trenton Irwin would be the guy. If only one of them misses, Trenton Irwin would still see, probably 80-90% of the snaps. He's 3,600. But because Boyd's out, you could also see a lot of Trent Taylor, who ran around over 90% of the time last week too. So like both of them. Irwin, if only one of them's out, but both of them out. I like Irwin and Taylor because you are catching passes from Joe Burrow, and there's still going to be no Hayden Hurst. Still looks like.
Yeah.
So Irwin and Taylor, I mean, these guys could get 5, 6, 7 targets from one of the better quarterbacks in the league here.
Yeah, no, I love the Shaheed call. We were absolutely using him in our DK lineup. I cashed in on that 40-1 odds to lead the Monday Night Football matchup.
Nice.
And receiving yards. But yeah, he just has a massive ceiling, and he's getting a ton of playing time. So that's a great combo.
All right, let's go to DraftKings and build a lineup for the main slate. You can start us off.
All right, Rashid Shaheed, let's do it. All right, now we have $1 million left.
30.
God, he is way too cheap.
Yeah.
Good matchup too, man.
I'm gonna go with. go with Latavius Murray at 5,100.
All right, let's stack him with the Broncos defense.
2,700 for the Broncos D. So we got an average of 6,500 for quarterback, running back, 2 wide receivers, tight end, flex. Let's see. Let's go Dak. Quarterback, 6,200.
Nice. Let's see. God, ETN sticks out with his price, but man, he has been dreadful lately. Let's go Garrett Wilson at 6K.
All right. I'm going to stack Dak with CD Lamb at 7,300. You know, coming off the quiet game, 20 points in the 2 games prior to that, just 8 points in full PPR last week. So I like the bounce back spot for him against that bottom 3 Jags D. So we got 6,500 still average running back flex.
Oh man. Let's go with the tight end here. I think Ingram obviously is going to be pretty chalky at 3,800. I think that gives us an opportunity to take a Okonkwo at 3,100. I don't think his rostership will be where it should be yet. And like I said, we really haven't seen where his ceiling could be because he's been limited by the playing time. So he's just a guy I'm still trying to invest in right now. So let's go with him.
All right. So that gives us 8,200.
Yeah. Feel free to
running back and flex.
spend some cash. Get a VIP player here. We got 2 coming up.
Let's go with Jamar Chase in the flex.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like there'll probably be no Higgins and Boyd. That's and Hurst. So this could just be a monster target share kind of game for Jamar Chase. So 8,100. You still have 81. So you can still get any running back except Austin Eckler.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about Irwin and Trent Taylor being dart throws, which is obviously a good call, but you know, Jamar Chase because go nuclear here. Okay, well, we already have Okonkwo, so can't go Derrick Henry, unfortunately. God, and Jacobs is banged up a bit.
I mean, he's every week they say that. He's fine.
That would leave us with $0 left over. That's no fun. Ooh, but there's really nobody. Oh, well, what we could do is double up at tight end. Kelsey's 7,800 against the Texans.
Might have running back. We need a running back.
I forgot you took Chase in the flex.
Yeah.
I thought I had an opening in the flex.
I mean, we could. I'm trying to think.
No. I'll take Josh Jacobs.
Okay.
I just have to have $0 left over. No big deal. Did you see the optimal lineup for the last showdown slate?
No.
Did you see what that looked like?
What was it? With the Patriots one?
Yeah, last night.
Yeah. It was like nobody was expensive. Yeah.
It was like $29,000 left over. You had the optimal lineup. It was like both kickers, both defenses, and of course James Conner in the captain slot. But yeah, that was a hell of a showdown slate. But yeah, this time we'll have $0 left over. No big deal.
All right. So we got Dak Prescott, 6,200 at Jacksonville. Running backs, Latavius Murray, 5,100 against the Cards. Josh Jacobs, 8,100 against the Pats. Wide receivers, CD Lamb stacked with Dak, 7,300 against the Jags. Garrett Wilson at 6K against Detroit. Rashid Shaheed at 3,200 against the Falcons. And we got Jamar Chase in the flex at 8,300 against the Bucks with Okonkwo at tight end. 3,100 at the Chargers, and we got the Broncos D stacked with Murray, 2,700 at home against Arizona. Let's go to FanDuel now. And see. All right, I'll start it off here. Let's see what we got. Let's go with James Conner at 7,200.
I love him this week. Let's go with another running back. I like, especially on FanDuel, Deontay Foreman this week. Just how run heavy they've been. They're favored against Pittsburgh, I would imagine. So yeah, let's go. Could be a Foreman game.
6,400 for Foreman. All right. All right, let's stack Foreman with the Carolina D at 4,200.
Nice.
So we got about 7K left for quarterback, 3 wide receivers, tight end, flex.
Okay. Let's go with Zay Jones.
Yeah.
Usually he's way too cheap on DraftKings, but he's 6,300 on FanDuel. I know it's a tougher matchup, but he's just been way too good this year to pass up at that price.
All right.
I feel like Zay Jones is sort of the T. Higgins of this year.
Right. Yeah, no, he's been great. Except that one game against Detroit. Oh, go figure.
Oh yeah, go figure.
Okay.
Speaking of T. Higgins, not to sidetrack too much, but what the hell was that?
Yeah, like he was obviously hurt. And
Could you imagine if he had the over or something? He got in for one play and then left.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Looks probably made some money on that one.
No kidding. What are you thinking at quarterback? Like it's kind of pricing's pretty good. I guess Dak's too cheap again on this side, but
yeah, let's see. Dak's too cheap.
like Brady's cheap if you think he's gonna do good, but
no, I don't.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Quarterback, let's go with Justin Herbert, 8,300 against Titans.
Oh yeah,
I figured it's a pretty big pass funnel defense there.
Yeah, well, I said for Trevor Lawrence, despite the good matchup, and you poo-pooed that, but I'd say it's really good for quarterbacks, terrible for running backs, right? So
yeah,
look, Trevor Lawrence just went off like we all predicted. Well, thank you. Now I have to figure out who the hell are we stacking Herbert with? So we have. Should we pick 2 guys?
If you want.
Yeah, let's see. What's Mike? Mike Williams he's cheap enough. Yeah, let's go with Mike Williams for his upside. He's a better FanDuel play as well, so let's go with him.
All right, so that's 7,200 for Mike. So we got 6,800 wide receiver, tight end, flex. Okay, let's see. Tight end. Let's go. Let's go Dalton Schultz here against that bottom right Jags. Yeah, because we got Zay Jones as well. So
yeah,
we'll reverse. Whoops.
Little mini game stack there.
Yep. So we got 69.50 for a wide receiver and a flex on FanDuel.
All right. Man, Matt Collins is too cheap. Yeah, let's go with Drake London. Why the hell not? He's 6,300. We didn't take him on DK, I don't think. So let's go with London.
Yeah, he's probably not going to get a ton of volume either way, so probably need a touchdown. Right. So it makes for a better FanDuel play.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so we got 7,600 for a flex.
Not too many options in that range, right? Like
we got Kamara, but we would have no money left over. Right? That's a good one. Pacheco, Zeke, Jerry Judy. Oh, well, we got Connor, so we don't want him. Juju, Devontae Smith. Chicago is pretty zone heavy, if I'm not mistaken, right? Let's see.
Yeah, if you need an extra $200 to spend, there's some options. Wide receiver, like pivot off London. Just looking for more wiggle room if you need it.
Nah, I think. Now let's go. Yeah, let's go Devontae Smith, 7,200.
Oh, nice.
Before on the table. He's a top. I have him as a top 20 wide receiver this week. That Chicago defense is bad. He's got.
Doesn't need many catches to crush either.
Yeah, you see that catch, his touchdown against the
Yeah.
Giants? Oh my goodness, just like ridiculous.
Yeah, I was showing some slight value on his under, but I was like, no way. He's one of those players that you can't really fade him.
Yeah, I mean this team is too good right now.
Exactly.
But yeah, he's got a touchdown in 2 straight, 3 of the last 5,
Yeah.
and he's putting up pretty good yardage totals too.
Goddard might return this week. Not that it will really impact too much, but I think Goddard's returning this week, right? At
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen anything, but
okay.
yeah, it's not a. Devontae they were all balling either way. So
right, it's helped at least funnel just more targets to those 2 guys, but worth noting.
Yeah, he could come back. He's working off to the side in practice, so
yeah.
But I mean, I don't think they have any. Like, they're not going to rush him because
yeah,
they're sitting in such good position. So I wouldn't be surprised if they keep him out with one.
Bro, save him. Yeah, save him for next week against the Cowboys.
Yeah, but either way, yeah, I like Devontae in this spot, so let's go with him. So 7,200. So we got Herbert at 8,300 at quarterback, Koerner 7,200 at Denver, with Foreman 6,400 against Pittsburgh. Our wide receivers, Zay Jones at 6,300 against Dallas. Mike Williams, 7,200, stacked with Herbert against Tennessee. Drake London, 6,300 against the Saints. Dalton Schultz at tight end at 6,500. Devontae Smith in the flex, 7,200 at Chicago. I got the Panthers D stacked with Foreman, 4,200 at home against the Steelers. That's going to do it for the Week 15 Fantasy Flex Fantasy Preview episode. For more great fantasy content from Sean and I, check our full player projections episode, which is out right now over on the Action Network podcast channel. And every Friday morning this season, Sean and I will have our night shift episode where we break down the Sunday night football and Monday night football DFS slates. ActionNetwork.com for all of our fantasy and betting content, as well as FantasyLabs.com for our DFS tools and models. You can find Sean on Twitter at @the_oddsmaker and me at Chris Raybon, and at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until next time, let's get this shmoney.